It is responsible for more human deaths than any other animal on Earth. Every year, it helps spread diseases that claim hundreds of thousands of lives. So the answer seems obvious. Destroy them all. But what if removing mosquitoes changed our planet forever? What if nature depends on the very creature we love to hate? Are mosquitoes ruthless killers? Or unseen eco-warriors holding ecosystems together? Welcome to the search for answers.
All right, let's dive right into this explainer and tackle the high-stakes science behind, literally, the most universally hated insect on the planet. We're talking about the mosquito, a creature that has been plaguing humanity since, well, the dawn of our species. But as we're going to see today, the whole story of the mosquito is way more complex than just itchy bites and ruined summer evenings. It's actually this crazy mix of ecological balance, cutting-edge genetics, and a really profound ethical dilemma. To wrap our heads around the sheer scale of the problem, just think about this number for a second. 760,000. That's roughly how many human deaths mosquitoes cause every single year. You know, when we think of deadly animals, our minds usually jump straight to lions or sharks, maybe venomous snakes, but those don't even come close. That staggering statistic easily makes mosquitoes the deadliest animal on Earth. Humans actually come in a distant second. So that brings us to the big provocative question driving our analysis today. If we actually possess the scientific capability and the technology to completely eradicate our greatest foe from the face of the Earth, should we actually do it? It's a massive debate right now among scientists, ecologists, and public health experts. Section 1. The world's deadliest animal. Mosquitoes are an absolutely devastating global health threat. I mean, they account for a massive 17% of all infectious diseases worldwide. They act as the primary delivery system, the vectors, for some really debilitating and deadly illnesses, like malaria, dengue, Zika, chikungunya, and yellow fever. And what's deeply concerning is that as human-driven climate change continues to warm the planet, these mosquitoes are spreading into entirely new geographic areas during longer, hotter summers. That's propelling a lot of fear about new, unprecedented global health crises. Section 2. Nature's hidden eco-warriors. Now, we kind of have to flip the script for a second. We all know them as these deadly villains, right? The ultimate human parasites. But believe it or not, in the natural world, they are unexpected ecological heroes. They quietly support incredibly diverse ecosystems all over the globe, functioning as critical pollinators and a foundational food source for countless other species. When you dig into the published research, it's wild how deeply embedded they are in the environment. And just as climate change is expanding their threat to humans, it's simultaneously magnifying their ecological footprint. Altered temperature and rain patterns are shifting their habitats and population dynamics, which actually makes their role in stabilizing food webs and cycling nutrients even more pronounced in certain regions. The real kicker here is that they're a foundational food source. For example, up in the harsh Arctic tundra, freshwater fish gorge almost exclusively on mosquito nymphs and larvae. And in the sky, birds like swallows and martins, along with various bat species, will literally eat thousands of mosquitoes just to survive. Spiders, frogs, dragonflies, they all rely on them. If you completely erase mosquitoes, you seriously risk starving the predators that depend on them. They also drive this really vital environmental process called nutrient cycling. Think of mosquito larvae as these tiny little aquatic water purifiers. They live in stagnant water, right? And they break down organic matter and algae. When they digest that stuff, they release essential nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus back into the water, basically fertilizing the aquatic ecosystem so that plants and other life can thrive. Okay, get ready for a twist, because this totally defies their blood-sucking reputation. Male and female mosquitoes actually feed mostly on plant nectar. Yeah, blood is only needed by the females when they're producing eggs. Because they're always hunting for nectar, species like the snowpool mosquito are absolutely vital pollinators for specific plants. A great example is the blunt leaf orchid, which grows in northern North American bogs and swamps. Section 3. The Eradication Dilemma. Now, here is the data epiphany that honestly changes the whole debate. There are roughly 3,500 distinct mosquito species on Earth, but only about 100 of them actually bite humans. And out of those, a mere 5 species are responsible for roughly 95% of all human mosquito-borne diseases. So we don't really have a massive mosquito problem. We have a very specific 5-species problem. Since those 5 deadly species evolved to live almost entirely alongside humans, breeding in our artificial containers and feeding on our blood, scientists theorize we could pull off a highly targeted approach. Step 1, we eradicate just those 5 deadly species. Step 2, genetically similar but entirely harmless mosquitoes seamlessly move in to fill that empty ecological void. The food web stays totally intact, pollination continues, but the human diseases, they disappear. Section 4. Precision mosquito control. So how do we actually do that? Well, science is giving us 2 main precision interventions right now. First up is gene drive technology, which involves genetically modifying the target mosquitoes so that the females become infertile, effectively crashing that specific population over a few generations. The second approach is infecting mosquitoes with a naturally occurring bacteria called Wolbachia. This doesn't kill them, but it radically reduces their ability to transmit viruses like dengue. And get this, the Wolbachia method is already showing absolutely incredible real-world results. After releasing Wolbachia-infected mosquitoes in Niterói, Brazil, researchers saw a staggering 89% drop in dengue cases. Worldwide, this specific technique has already protected over 16 million people across 15 countries, with no known negative environmental consequences so far. But, these precision efforts aren't exactly a flawless magic bullet. Implementing them means navigating some pretty massive roadblocks. For instance, some really promising gene drive trials in Burkina Faso were abruptly halted recently. And it wasn't a failure of the science. It was because of a lack of political buy-in and some intense public disinformation campaigns. It just goes to show that releasing genetically altered insects into the wild is as much a social and political challenge as it is a scientific one. Section 5. A world without mosquitoes? Vector biologist Hilary Ranson really hits the nail on the head when it comes to the ethics of this whole thing. She points out that, intentionally wiping out a species, speciesicide, is a huge valid debate. But she also reminds us of this dark irony. Humans are already carelessly driving countless other species to extinction every single day through habitat destruction and pollution. So is doing it purposefully to save human lives really that different? Plus, experts stress that we can't just put all our eggs in the genetic technology basket. A real, lasting solution needs to be much more holistic. That means we have to keep investing heavily in foundational public health. Things like providing accessible treatments, building better housing to keep the insects out, and developing reliable vaccines for the people who need them the most. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a pretty heavy question to chew on. We've seen that mosquitoes are vital cogs in the machine of nature, yet they're also our most lethal predators. When you're weighing the delicate, interconnected balance of a global ecosystem against the staggering tragedy of 760,000 human deaths every single year, is intentional extinction ever the right answer? It is a complex scientific frontier for sure, and I hope breaking it down today helped clarify the stakes. Thanks so much for joining me, and as always, keep questioning the world around you.